facility capacity to handle that. But as Mr. Blue stated, as we look at these RFP reviews, we're going to be looking at the feasibility of their analysis, and that will be market and user driven. So we'll be looking to them to work with us on those solutions.
Mayor, I'm very supportive of selling the building, but at this time, I can't support it without a parking solution involved with the sale of the building.
Thank you very much, Councilman Nowakowski. Any other comments by members of this council? We have a motion in favor of staff recommendation. We have a second. Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gallego.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski.
No.
Pastor.
Yes.
Waring. Yes. Williams. Valenzuela.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes. Is Councilman Williams there? Okay, so I think that motion passed on a 7-to-1 vote. Next item on the agenda is item number 30, public comment on proposed changes to the MOUs and TCE submitted by authorized employee organizations. Do we have cards on items number 30? This is not an action item. This is an opportunity for leaders of our employee organizations to provide comments to the City Council. I have a few cards on this item. I don't know if there was an intended order, but Jason Stokes, you're on top of the pile. So unless you have a different order to go in, you'll have the opportunity to speak first.
Mayor, members of the City Council, thank you. Jason Stokes, President of Aspetia, representing over 2,700 supervisory and professional employees in the City of Phoenix. For the last 6 years, our employees have reduced their wages, reduced their benefits, and supported effective and legal reforms to their pension plans. Your employees are still in concessions, still have furlough days, are enduring long-term vacancies and increased workloads. Despite this, your employees have continued to excel in the quality of service they provide every day. Safe neighborhoods, clean water, better transit, streamlined development, just to mention a few. It's clear that our community supports us. We hope that our council will as well. As we move forward, some members of this council will look to position some groups above others. This grandstanding doesn't provide solutions, just division. The facts are that every city employee provides a vital service. The cars don't start, 911 calls don't get answered, the radios don't work, the computers won't turn on, the water isn't clean, and the trash doesn't get picked up. You have failed in your responsibility to the public. The city doesn't revolve around one or two job classes. It depends on all of us. Outsourcing is not the answer. It brings its own set of headaches. Ask any retiree who recently dealt with the One Exchange how that outsourcing worked. We're asking the council to remember the sacrifices your employees have made and put us on the path to recovery by supporting restorals to all employees, not just the politically expedient. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stokes. It's very much appreciated. In favor of the item, or I'm not sure, Lonnie Russ, did you provide testimony? It's not an action item, so you say you're in favor, but it's really just an opportunity to provide comment on item 30. Okay, the next speaker then will be Barry McCain, followed by Frank Piccioli.
Mayor Stanton, City Council, thank you for letting me speak. Being this City Council is important to me because not only do I have leaders in front of me, I have leaders around me and behind me. So there I get to learn from you, and thank you for that as well. But the thing I'd like to bring up, that for 6 years, public employees have conceded to the City of Phoenix so they can be sustainable, a sustainable city in the United States. But that's a lot of concessions, 6 years. Without our public employees, our city vehicles don't drive, our city helicopters don't fly. Along with that, buildings, water, people are not safe if it's not for our public employees. I think that has to be understood. They are the backbone of the city of Phoenix, as I've said before. Oh, where's my manners? Councilman DeCiccio, thank you for backing our veterans. As a disabled vet that was drafted out of high school and a career in the United States Navy, thank you so much, sir. That needed to be said. That being said, then I'm also a trainer of 2 world championship boxers professionally. I've seen a lot of things, but I feel that our public employees have just not been respected. It's something that we keep things going, and I want this city council to consider that when you do something for us, because we do need you. We need you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. McCain. Appreciated. Frank Pacholi is the next speaker. Following Mr. Pacholi will be Dolores Henderson.
Thank you, Frank Pacholi, President of ASME Local 2960. Well, once again, we're here, and it truly seems like deja vu. Year after year, we discuss the budget being upside down, and year after year, the only way to balance the budget seems to be on the backs of the employees. When will this end? It ended in other cities, but not here. Just a brief overview. 2011, 6 furlough days, reduced pay and benefits. 2012, 6 more furlough days, reduced pay and benefits. 2013, 3 furlough days, reduced pay and benefits. 2014, 3 more furlough days, reduced pay and benefits. 2015, 6 furlough days, reduced pay and benefits. 2016, 7 more furlough days, reduced pay and benefits. And lo and behold, the budget proposed to you yesterday assumes 2017, 6 furlough days, reduced pay and benefits. 2018, 7 more furlough days, reduced pay and benefits. You have made it clear, this city has made it clear, year after year, you plan on reducing the budget, balancing the budget on the employees' backs. Some members of the council suggested saving money by privatization. How did that work out with the bus companies who simply need to go on strike to get their wage increases? You used to have a pay and benefits program in this city that was the envy of the state, the envy of the country. Our pay and benefits now are the laughingstock of this state. You can't hire, you can't retain, you can't even recruit. No one wants to work for the city of Phoenix anymore. In the last few years, we've lost 900 employees from my unit alone. You can blame many things. You can blame pensions and benefits all you want. Yet all these other cities around the country, all these other cities in the state have the same pay, have the same benefits, have the same pension woes, and they don't have 36 furloughs. Please start leading. This council needs to look at funding sources, and those funding sources can no longer be the employees of the city of Phoenix.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pacholi. Next speaker will be Dolores Henderson, followed by Dennis Marrero, and it's listed as him been downstairs. So if Mr. Marrero is available, please bring him up. Ms. Henderson, good to see you. Oh, you're right there. Ms. Henderson, go to see you.
My name is Dolores Henderson, and I would just like to say that we are the best-run city. How then are the employees of the best-run city continually giving up benefits? The not best-run cities are giving raises to their employees. My job is important. We provide clean water to Palo Verde, to Roosevelt Irrigation District. We deserve better by the best-run city.
Thank you, Ms. Henderson. Next speaker will be Dennis Marrero, I hope I pronounced that correctly, followed by Matthew Phillips.
Mayor, City Council members, my name is Dennis Marrero. Like they said, for years we've been taking concessions. It's hard to take furlough and pay cut when we just noticed right in our work center that got a reclassification on equipment parts supervisor. It was reclassified to inventory management coordinator with a pay raise of $12,522, just for a reclassification on that. The bonuses that are going out, we don't know them all, but we've heard of some. Valley Metro, for one, as you know. It doesn't matter what budget you come up with if there's no checks and balances of where the money's going and how it's being spent, then it's really not going to matter. Thank you.
Thank Thank you very much, Mr. Marrero. Matthew Phillips is the next speaker, followed by Louis Schmidt, and looks like 2 people have donated time to Louis Schmidt. Mr. Phillips.
Hello, my name is Matthew Phillips. This is my first time, so I'll try to make it quick. I work at the airport with rubber and paint removal on the runways and taxiways, and it's really important to retain the people and their experience. Fleet operators, contractors are more expensive and aren't even available to help out if it's needed. It's very difficult to have any hope and try to make a career and stay with the city when it's not even close to a bright future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Phillips. Come back more often. Mr. Louis Schmidt, President Louis Schmidt is next, and Don Ramirez and Mario Ayala has donated time. Luis Feliciano, did you provide testimony, or were you going to donate to Louis Schmidt?
It's all donated time, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, it's not marked on his card, so I got to confirm.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Feliciano, is he here? All right,
he
you have
left
up to
already.
6 minutes then. Go ahead.
So, Mayor, members of the City Council, thank you, and members of the public. My name is Louis Schmidt, President of Action Local 2384, and this is Marshall Pimentel, the Vice President. So yesterday we heard the budget being presented to the City Council for the next fiscal year. In there was a predicted deficit, and as you know, we're going into negotiations. Like many other speakers have said, you know, there's appears to be no end in sight. Earlier, you guys just discussed about if there's no end in sight for this drone thing. Well, we've been waiting over 6 years, more, close to 8 years for you guys to end in sight for these concessions. So with yesterday's budget discussion you guys had, I was looking for solutions. Which council member, which elected leader is going to come up and say, we have tough decisions to make, we need to look at some tough decisions and look at solutions to end these concessions. The only thing I heard yesterday was, I support, you know, Councilman DeCiccio said that he supports pay for police officers. Everybody supports that. But he also said, let's outsource more, let's outsource more. In order to outsource more, as many of the citizens you may not know, you can't mix the funds from the general revenue to the general fund. And the general fund is where we always find that's where the deficits are at. So in order to show the public and maybe the council, try to educate them on how this works, yesterday there was a graph that was shown to the public yesterday and to the city council on the cost of, you know, public safety and then some of the other user departments. This is all the general fund. So if you see these big lines, this is public safety. The first one is police, and the next one is fire. And the next one down from that would be parks and recreation, less than $100 million a year, and this is just expenditures. So I don't know how we can I don't know how you can cut from the smaller departments to try to fix the problem that's in the general fund. So I don't know you guys can see this graph, but to the cameras here, how can you cut from that little piece of the crumb you call a pie to make up the deficit that is on the general fund? And maybe we need another demonstration, so let's see how this goes. So the first, we took this to scale. So for public safety, for police, it's over $450 million to run that department a year, okay? So this is to scale, and we don't want to, but if we keep going, this is going to be over 40 feet, okay, to show that the budget, okay, 40 feet. So, Marshall, you can stop there. Where's that? You're right. That's police, right? And the next one would be fire department. And that one's going to be about half of that. Sorry, ma'am. I know this looks like we're about gimmicks, but it's not. We have to demonstrate to the public and to the council just how do we come to the solutions. So this would be for the police department, right? I mean, for the fire department. Okay, and that's roughly over $250 million, okay? Come back, Marshall, please. And this is all the general revenue, general revenue. And these are the smaller departments. And this is Parks and Rec, where some council members want to just keep contracting out. You know, that's Parks and Rec right there. The next one is going to be streets, you know, right there. Yes, streets. And then Public Works. Ms. Greta Rogers, we agree with you. But so if you look at that, you want to cut from these to make up this. It just does not make sense, okay? We cannot continue, you can't cut to a solution. We've already seen that Phoenix is not getting anywhere with this. How can you keep continuing to cut from the lowest to try to fix the problem where we have the problem with the general fund? So that is one demonstration. So what are we asking for in negotiations? We're asking for safety, for proper staffing levels. You heard President Pacholi speak about they're down over 900 positions. In our unit, we're down over 700 positions. Okay, I know police is down 500, and we haven't hired firefighters for a long time either. They're down a couple hundred too. But by these staffing levels, the more you keep cutting, the more you keep having injuries. We want proper staffing levels. This past summer, we've had several employees from the water department who've been transported to the hospital by ambulance. Yes, by ambulance, because you're working out there 18, 16, 17 hours, and there's no relief. There's no relief, Mayor, and members of the City Council and the Mayor and our public members. Your water is critical. Our water is critical, and so our members are still out there. No matter what the temperature is, no matter what the condition is, they're out there to make sure that your water keeps running, that when you turn that faucet on, it's on. But again, we have minimal staffing levels out there. Employees are getting hurt. So safe working conditions. 2 weeks ago on December 2nd, we had, there was a couple big leaks in Phoenix where our crews got stuck out there because there's improper staffing by the water department, and they're downstairs listening too. I hope they're still here. And we had employees working over 18 hours out there, and they were using their own flashlights because we don't even have proper lighting for our employees in the water department. Resources and tools are what's needed to do a proper job safely. When our employees get hurt for doing, if they violate safety protocol, they get disciplined. And so is this what we have to do, have employees start making up their own, rigging their own safety equipment like this? That's uncalled for. We're asking for better communication devices.
You got to wrap up, because we gave you 6 minutes, and you're going a little over. So
Mayor, I also have all these signatures that I can just add into the record, but I can have them all speak up if you want, but they're, we're not going to, I ask you that you be respectful of what we're trying to show the public and yourselves. So all these are hundreds of employees who can't even be here today, and they share the same. I'll read what this title says. Mayor, members of the City Council, we love our community and take pride in the services we deliver our community. However, we are tired of the lack of pride our City Council has in us. Therefore, we insist that concessions cease immediately. We need adequate staffing levels, safer working conditions, and a fair contract. When we say safer working conditions, we've been struggling to get proper communication devices. I see many of these police officers have radios, which is what's needed.
Out of respect, I gave you even additional time beyond the time for the cards you had, so you got to wrap up here. I appreciate it.
Mayor, I believe I had like 8 minutes minimum, I gave you, there was like
There
4
were
or 5
2 cards
cards.
that were marked with your name. One that may have been, it was in the pile. That's how I was trying to find the individual, but you've gone beyond that. But please just make your final point. And
I will. It's just, so the other point is we've been asking for communication devices so that our employees can be properly equipped to communicate, whether in case of emergencies out in the field. We still have gotten over talking to the water department. And is this what we're going to be led to? I mean, we talk about technology. Is this what we need to get people's attention? I know it seems like we're playing games, but we're not, ladies and gentlemen. It's time that the city of Phoenix respect their employees and,
right, thank you, Mr.
stop
Smith.
making these concessions. We, with the mayor, we can fill out more cards if you want, Mayor.
We've got more time.
I'll wrap it up
Choice.
1 minute.
We have a process in place. You know the process. I respect you so much, but you've gone beyond your time.
Okay, my last point is, we made savings with our benefits program. One of our members is going through cancer right now, which affects many members of the community. And with the benefits changes, he's been told by his doctors that he can no longer go see them. So, Mayor, members of the City Council, we need you guys to find solutions, and we need solutions from you guys. We've been more than willing to help you guys over and over again, and it's time that Phoenix take pride in their employees. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Does anyone else wish to speak?
Mayor, I have a question for
Councilman
police.
Nowakowski, please, of course.
So you talked about being 700 employees down from what?
A couple years ago, in like 07, 08, we were at 2,200 within the unit. In the unit that we represent is the blue-collar employees, all the water facilities employees, all the majority of the aviation streets. We produce all your clean water. We make sure that the water to the Palo Verde gets flowing every day, over 80 million gallons of water. It's the hard work of our employees, Councilman Nowakowski. And we're down over 700 positions because this council keeps cutting positions. But again, you can cut all the positions you want, even in the general revenue, in the revenue departments. But the problem is in the general fund. So you can keep cutting from water, you can keep contracting out like some of these councilmen want. But your problem is in the general fund. And if that doesn't show you that we need solutions from you guys, then I don't know what will.
Now, Luis, if I was going to ask the city manager to do a review on the safety, because I'm concerned, I'm pretty sure my colleagues are concerned on the safety issues, especially having employees work 16 to 18 hours straight, what should they look at? Or
What we're looking at is,
direction should I give them?
what the problem that we have is, we just have the city hires, great people from the outside, but sometimes all they look at is analytics. All they look at is numbers and statistics. That's all they look at. But they forget the human aspect of it. Many of you can go home. You guys all have families, but our employees are having to stay out there no matter what. There's no relief. So when there's no relief, we have 24/7 coverage. But when our management refuses to properly staff that, these employees are stuck out there forever. They're stuck out there, and they have families too. They have daughters. They have families. But again, all that comes secondary because we have to make sure that we keep providing clean, safe water to the citizens, and we do that. But the problem, Councilman Nowakowski, is that we've had employees, who said, we're willing to help out, to lessen this burden. But what we have is the department refuses to do that, so they make a select few, burn them out, instead of trying to share the responsibilities among the work group.
Mayor, can I direct the city manager to do a review to find out if there are individuals working that 16, 18 hours, and why is that, and the whole safety issue, especially when it comes to equipment and making sure that our employees are safe, right?
So you can certainly ask city manager to do that, and he can spend up to 8 hours doing that, and if more than that, and he can come back before this council.
And
City
Councilman
Real quick,
Nowakowski.
city manager's going to respond, and then we'll get back to you, Mr. Schmidt.
Mayor, Councilman Nowakowski, yes, we never want our employees to be unsafe. We don't expect them to work unsafely. Mr. Schmidt met this morning with the deputy city manager and the assistant city manager, and we committed to work with him and water management on the issues he's raised, and we will continue to do that.
Thank you.
Councilman DeCiccio, please.
Oh, thank you, because since I was referred to, I do love you guys, okay, but I know we're at conflict on some issues. But here's what I said yesterday that Luis was here on. And this is to the labor unions, and this is my acceptance and understanding that you kind of run the show here now, that it was meant, well, Frank, it is true. You guys do it. You win. Oh, Frank, you win everything.
Councilman
here.
DeCiccio has the floor.
So all it was I just want to paint the picture so that you see what's been occurring. The city of Phoenix has more money now than it's ever had in its entire history, ever, right now. And we always have a deficit. It's because our expenses are exceeding our revenues. And when you have an expense issue that is exceeding your revenues, you have a problem. You're going to be looking at one of the largest property tax increases ever in the history of Phoenix because of the policies that the city council has adopted in the past few years because of that. But that's going to be another issue. But the question that you've got to ask yourself, and this is what I asked Luis and I asked the other labor unions yesterday, I said, look, guys, when you're talking about this, something's got to give in here. Something has to give. There are some positions that are vacant right now that you want to fill that we could fill with people on the outside that are going to be a lot less expensive than what we have today. Our average cost per employee, whether you like it or not, costs totally and all in is $110,000 per employee. We have over 12,000 employees at the city of Phoenix, and it's $110,000. A lot of it is because of the expense that's there. So when you have that, you've got to be able to cover those expenses without covering and hurting your end or impacting your salaries. If we look at these non-essential, non-strategic functions and find somebody in the private sector to do some of those functions, let them do that at a lower cost. Even if we save 10 to 15%, then you can use those monies at these escalated pension costs. You've got to find a way, and things do come down to a number. It doesn't mean I don't care. I love you guys. I come from a labor family. No, I do. My dad was a steel worker. We were labor all the way. My dad was. I changed only because I saw the numbers in there. And sometimes the numbers have they always have to work. Things come down to a number, and that means those numbers have to work. So all I asked was try and find those areas that are non-essential, non-strategic, that other people could probably fill other than employees. Sure, Luis, I don't mind engaging with, I love having these conversations. And the other part of it, when you're talking about positions that were cut, they were all vacant positions. They were all vacant positions. Nobody lost their job here, even in the bad time. In 2010, when we had about 15,000 employees, there were a small company lost more people. Not that I'm advocating that, because I know what it's like to have somebody who's unemployed in our family. But we had, there were 15 actual individuals let go out of 15,000 in 2009, 2010, when everybody else, even small companies, were letting go of that. So what that tells me is that the city has done a really good job of trying to protect you. So when you have those kinds of expenses, you've got to find a way to make it work. And all I asked for was some room to look at those non-critical, non-strategic functions. Go ahead, Luis.
So, I mean, you bring up a great point, but in the city right now outsources over $500 million, so you're close to 500. But the problem, Councilman DeCiccio, was I just showed you this graph. If you can only cut from a small percentage, no matter what you cut, no matter what you outsource, you're not going to be able to make up. It can't go. You can keep outsourcing from the water department and other departments if you want to, but that money is not going to go to the general revenue fund. And we just did we outsourced public transit, and they're going to go on strike in 2 weeks when the bowl games are here, because the city loses control when you privatize everything like that.
All right, I'm going to ask, obviously, this is a interesting philosophical debate, but the agenda item was public comment on the
Yes.
proposed change of the MOU and TC, and we have a very, very busy
Thank you for your love, and we
agenda.
love to serve the community.
Thank you very much,
Thank
President
you,
Schmidt.
Luis. Merry Christmas.
We have one other person not wishing to speak, but just says, Mr. George Myers, please give your employees a raise. It's not an action item, item number 30. We're now going to move on to item number... I'm so sorry if you did. I apologize. We're going to try to find it. Ms. Greta Rogers, I believe you. 30 and 52. If you lost it, that's not mine. All right, fair enough. All right. We'll,
Before I start on the subject at hand, I'd like to remind you, Mayor, that you have very expansive time frames for attorneys who come and speak here on behalf of a client. We spent 20 minutes listening to Ms. Leibowitz,
Lukowitz, but yes.
Lukowitz, and you never interrupted her. Please exercise equity and fairness to citizens. I am totally in agreement with what Mr. Schmidt and Mr. Pimentel brought before you. This city has neglected the employees like they were dirt under the feet. It's disgusting, it's intolerable, and it's got to stop. The employees of the city of Phoenix are who make it operate. Most of them aren't salaried. They're hourly. You have lost an invaluable number of experienced, skilled, and dedicated employees, and it hasn't all been because they were eligible to retire. You cannot continue to ask for more with less. Every human being has a physical and an emotional mental limitation. You can redistribute to the point where there is no latitude left for redistribution. If we need to raise property tax, which hasn't been raised for 20 years, and it's the most disgusting low property tax in the United States, and we need to raise sales tax to do what we need to do to keep employees so that this city continues to operate, then have the spine and the testosterone to do it.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rogers. I did want to address your specific allegation at the beginning. I did give, on the issue at hand relative to the Starbucks liquor licenses, I gave Detective Eric Brendel as much time as he needed to make the case, the legal argument, representing the city of Phoenix, and I felt it was only fair to give the applicant an opportunity to make an adequate response to those legal arguments, each of which took more than 2 minutes. So I tried to give equal time to Detective Brendel and to the representative, the applicant, Ms. Lukowitz. All right, next on the agenda is item number 31. Item number 31 is a proposal for Mr. Pimentel, you had, and I'm gonna, the card came in about about 30 seconds ago. You were up there with President Louis Schmidt. You did a great presentation with the string, and if you're gonna insist, I'll give you up to 2 minutes, but I think it's fair. You've had time at the podium. If you wanna do it, go right ahead. It's up to you.
I was completely separate from him, just showing the process.
You were, I guess you were President Schmidt's assistant. If you wanna use this time, go right ahead. Now's your time, 2 minutes.
Appreciate it, Mayor, Council, City Manager, and staff. I'd like to read just real quick. There's an new employee, just newly hired, works a second job, wasn't able to read this, so I just really wanted to read this for the public so that they understand what they're going through. Now, the employees, when they get hired, they come in at the lowest step, whereas the executives, they can come in at a higher step and usually do. But these are the employees that come in first time, so I'd like to read the note that he gave to us so that, because he wasn't here today. I thought a job at the City of Phoenix would be an upgrade for my future. I applied and made it through the process. Ed Zerker called us winners at orientation. That all came to a dismal conclusion when I got my first paycheck. The job pays $16.59 an hour. Of that, they take 15.5% for pension, $163 for medical, plus dental and vision. With taxes taken after that, it only equates to approximately $600 take home from each check. That's a 2-week check. If it were not for my wife working, I would be in dire straits. This money wouldn't even cover rent, let alone utilities, food, gas, or to go back and forth to work. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council.
Thank you, Mr. Pimentel. I believe, does anyone else wish to speak on item 30? Anyone here speak on item 30? I apologize if the card may have the wrong number on it or we misread it. Anyone else on here on item number 30? Okay, now we're going to move on to item number 31. Item number 31 is proposed premium administration services for public safety retirees. Do we have a motion on item number 31?
Motion to approve item 31.
Do you have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I have a series of cards here on this item. First speaker will be Steve Berline, President of the United Phoenix Firefighter Association. Good to see you, Mr. Berline.
Mayor and Council, thank you. I'm Steve Berline, President, United Phoenix Firefighter Association. Recently, the city moved our retirees into the healthcare exchange with good intentions, primarily to save money. There were some challenges that were met and some unintended consequences, primarily for public safety retirees. We brought these issues to the city manager. It was the leadership of fire and police. And this city manager, we'd like to recognize his willingness to sit down and listen. And his staff, primarily Mary Kyle, for she's doing the legwork. I thank you for not running away from this city during these challenging times. Mary, you're fantastic. But anyways, item 31 is the solution to the issue brought forth. So I'll keep it short. I'm just here to speak on behalf of our retirees of public safety, and ask you to please vote in favor of item 31. If you have any questions, I'm more than willing to answer.
Thank you very much, President Berline. Any questions for President Berline? Thank you very much for your testimony, your leadership. Oh, Councilman Waring, do you have a question for Mr. Berline or staff?
Not a question. I would just echo the comments about Mary Kyle, and we've had people call our offices and so forth, and I think we're trying to work through the issues. So I would certainly encourage retirees, call their council office, and we'll try to figure out the best way to navigate the new system. But I think it's also designed to save, one point I wanted to make is it's designed to save the retirees money too, correct, Mr. City Manager?
That's correct.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kenneth Timms, you provide testimony now, and Debbie Lorenzano has donated time to you. So up to 4 minutes. Good to see you.
Thank you. My name's Kenny Timms. I'm a retired Phoenix Police Commander and also the current president of the Association of Retired Phoenix Police Officers. We are here to support this resolution to help ensure that the retirees receive a lost premium benefit that was paid for by the city. or by the state of Arizona. There is no cost to the city to actually for that premium benefit. It's actually paid for by the state, and we need to do everything we can to help get that benefit back in the pockets of retirees. I personally met and talked to over 1,400 retirees during this process of going through one exchange, and this money is going to go to desperate need to help them with continuing to pay their escalating premiums, as well as needed medical care that they're going to have to require that is no longer as lucrative with the changes. I'm also encouraged that the city is willing to continue to look at some alternatives to make sure that this benefit continues for all public safety retirees. And on behalf of the retired Phoenix police officers, we want to support this and make sure that it does go through and passes.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Timms. Thank you for your testimony. Thank you for your service as a Phoenix police officer.
And I would like to add one other thing that,
Please.
To echo, Mary Kyle and her staff have been absolutely wonderful working through some of the challenges with the police and fire and other city retirees. And I appreciate Mr. Zerker for having an open ear through all this process and making changes along the way that needed to be made. So thank you to both of you.
All right, thank you very much. That's all the cards I have. Do we already have a motion? So that we have a motion in favor of staff proposal. We have a second. Do we have a motion that Mary Kyle is in fact awesome?
I move that.
That'll be included in the motion. All right, good. All right, we have a motion. We have a second. Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gallego.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes. Item 35, library architectural upgrades on-call services. Do you have a motion on item number 35?
Motion to approve item 35.
We have a motion. We have a second. Councilman Gates, did you have comments on this item?
Yeah, just briefly, Mayor, since our last council meeting, I had the opportunity to meet with staff regarding this architecture, some of these architectural upgrades. And it's going to involve about $110,000 in operating funds being used for this capital project. And you know, with all the cuts we've had in library hours, I'm going to be voting against this one. But I do appreciate the library staff taking the time to update me on that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Any additional comments by members of this council? So we did have a motion in favor. We have a second. Roll call.
DeCiccio.
No.
Gallego.
Yes.
Gates.
No.
Nowakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, the item passes on a 6-3 vote. Next item, I believe, is 38. Is that accurate? Item number 38 is, just a moment.
Oh, this is an important one.
Authorization to amend our contract with Central Arizona Shelter Services to add additional funding. And we have a speaker card, but Councilman Williams, do you want to make the motion on this? And then we'll see if the speaker agrees with it.
I move approval.
I'll second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Still recovering Councilman Craig Tripkin, who works for CAS. You want to speak on it, or you got?
Mayor,
all right, go ahead, please.
Actually, Mayor and Council, I would like to speak very briefly, which is just to say that this is basically a zero-sum game with regards to money. The county, with the closing of the MOS and county funding of the MOS, and then city funding of CAS, this is really just shifting money. So there's a net gain of zero for CAS. However, I would like to, of course, suggest that a gain of more than that would be appropriate.
Thank you very much, Councilman Tripkin. We have a motion in favor of staff proposal. We have a second. Roll call.
DeCiccio.
Yes.
Gallego.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, item passes unanimously. Thank you to Craig and Cass, and have a good holiday and cold holiday season. I know the people out there are going to need the help. Next is item, let's see, 43. Item 43 is a request to approve retroactively apply for, accept, and disperse Grow 1000 Garden and Green Spaces Program. Do you have a motion on 43?
Motion to approve item 43.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any cards on item 43? Councilman Gates, did you have comments on item 43?
Yes, actually a question.
Please.
For staff, Mayor. Just, thank you for your time. Just clarifying that this particular item, the city would be applying for a grant for additional work on the community garden. That we appreciate the efforts already that have been put into the community garden at Mountain View Park and Sunny Slope. But this item is just to apply for a grant, would not be spending any city money on this project.
Mayor, Council, Member Gates, my name is Inger Erickson. I'm the Parks and Recreation Director, and that is correct. This would be to supplement the already existing garden with additional money.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councilman Waring, did you have comments or questions on this item?
No.
Any additional comments or questions by members of this council? Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gallego.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, item passes unanimously. Item 44 is a proposed development agreement with Galvanize, Inc. Vice Mayor, would you like to make a motion on 44?
Motion to approve item 44.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments on item number 44, Vice Mayor?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. This is, made some comments yesterday. This was certainly a team effort. This is in the warehouse district in District 8, and Councilwoman Gallego worked very hard on this project as well. Together, we, with obviously the mayor leading the way there, we had an opportunity to welcome Galvanize to Phoenix. Galvanize is an education-based co-working space. It's a company that's built around tech and innovation, entrepreneurship. They have a proven model. They're in a couple of different states. They're out of Denver. They're also in Seattle and San Francisco. And you know, they have a great model. In any one of those campuses that they have a record of graduating about 1,000 students a year, 97% placement with average starting salaries of $85,000. This is a great opportunity to equip our people, our residents, with the tools needed to compete for 21st century jobs. And it also tells those industries that this is where the talent is. Along with what is being produced out of our higher education institutions, we have a lot of great ones. You know, we have a lot of talent here in Phoenix, and Galvanize is going to add to that, and this is a great win for all of us.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor, for your active leadership on the issue. Councilwoman Gallego, thanks for your leadership as well. Comments on item 44?
Excellent. I'm very excited to welcome Galvanize to the Warehouse District. Yesterday we spoke and thanked our economic development staff for their great leadership in this issue and really responding to the business community when they said we have a great partnership with our four-year universities for computer science degrees, but there's a lot of need for people with a few months of education that isn't being met. And so this is a great way to respond to what we keep hearing from our businesses. But today I also want to thank some of the departments involved in infrastructure, because we have so many great companies coming to the Warehouse District, and our streets department has really stepped up with investments in addressing flood control issues, sidewalks, bringing in grid bike, really making it an easier place to do business. We've had some creative solutions on parking issues, and it's really been a citywide partnership that has led to the Warehouse District being one of the hot areas where companies want to come into. Warehouse District very much was so key to the past in our community with the agricultural economy. It was where business happened in Phoenix's historic agricultural economy, and now it is becoming an important part of our creative economy, where we have architects, artists, computer programmers who don't want to be in traditional office spaces with boxes. They want the big floor plans of warehouses, where as their companies expand, they can go in many different directions and adapt quickly. And so it's just very wonderful that we have this great resource in our community that's reinventing itself as the new creative hub in Phoenix, and very excited to welcome Galvanize into that mix and to congratulate WebPT, which is one of our Inc. 500 fastest growing companies and
as part of last week's announcements, made an even bigger commitment to Phoenix and the Warehouse District. So great news for all involved.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Any additional comments by members of the council? Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gallego.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski.
Yes.
Pastor.
Yes.
Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, the item passes on a 7-2 vote. Next item on the agenda is public hearing regarding the Downtown Phoenix Partnership Enhanced Municipal Services District Agreement or Contract. I guess we're going to do a short staff report as to the proposal. Then we'll hold a public hearing and take any public testimony that may be out there. And then we'll see if there's a motion and a vote by the City Council. Mr. Paul Blue.
Mayor, members of the council, I'm here with Eric Johnson and Ben Henderson from the Community and Economic Development Department, and they will provide a brief overview of the Enhanced Municipal Services budget that we're here today to discuss.
Thank you, Paul. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. The Enhanced Municipal Services District was established in 1990 and has been working on the behest of the business community and the property owners to provide special services throughout the district. The district area is approximately 90 square blocks and runs from 7th Street to 3rd Avenue and Fillmore down south to the railroad tracks or Harrison Street. The Downtown Phoenix Partnership has been implementing the services within this district successfully since 1990. Some of those services include the ambassadors that you see walking around in the orange shirts, the clean teams picking up garbage, removing graffiti, as well as a lot of special event, marketing, and other services to help the community. Most recently, the Downtown Phoenix Partnership was merged in with Downtown Phoenix, Inc. and continues to provide these services for the city. A few of the highlights from this year's budget includes a budget of approximately $3.6 million, which is an increase of approximately 8.5% from the previous year. The reason for this increase of 8.5%, is largely accounted for with the new developments that have been coming online within the district, and that includes projects such as the biomedical parking garage, as well as the Hilton Garden Inn that's about to begin operations later this month. Also, stakeholders through the hearing process through the Downtown Phoenix Partnership requested additional services, particularly amongst special events, landscaping, and business promotion. Some of the efficiencies that the Downtown Phoenix Inc. has provided have been reduced administrative services that have allowed them to also increase the services provided within the district. The general fund portion that's assessed to the city increased approximately 6.5%, which totals $339,000. Of this assessment to the city is approximately 10% of the overall district budget. Also, the Convention Center and Talking Stick Resort Arena were assessed approximately $600,000 in this 2016 budget. Overall, the process has been performed as it has for the last 20 years. The Downtown Phoenix Board approved the new budget in July of 2015. Downtown Aviation and Redevelopment Subcommittee approved the recommended budget, work plan, and assessments in October. And then City Council approved the work plan and the diagram most recently here in November. And then today we're having the public hearing to approve the assessment district. With that, we are happy to answer any of your questions. Also, David Kreider and David Roderick from the partnership and Downtown Phoenix Inc. are also here if you wish to have any questions for them.
All right, thank you very much for that staff report. Mr. Blue, anything else? We're going to move on now to the public hearing for the proposed assessment. So without further ado, I'll open that public hearing. The public hearing is now open. Craig Tripkin, did you provide testimony on this item, or are you just in favor? No problem. Nikki Casiaro, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Do you wish to speak or just to indicate support for the item? All right. How about Raimundo Cabrera III? Indicated in support. Antonio Bustamante? In favor. And then Dorina Bustamante. Dorina, are you here? Indicating support. Oh, there you are in the back. Good to see you. Indicating support as well. Is anyone else here to provide testimony to this council on item number 46 as it relates to the Downtown Enhanced Municipal Services District? Going once, going twice. Public hearing is now closed. Do we have a motion on item 46? Vice Mayor.
Motion to approve item 46.
Second.
We have a motion on 46. We have a second. Any comments or questions from members of this council? Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gallego.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski. Pastor. Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes, item passes on an 8-1 vote. Next item on the agenda is item 52, is that correct? That's what I have on my, okay.
52.
Ms. Rogers, you had testimony on this item. Please come forward. Item 52 concerns requested contract with Chase Field for ambulance standby service. Do we have a motion on item 52?
Motion to approve item 52.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is Greta Rogers, are you still here, Ms. Rogers? She had to leave? Okay, Ms. Rogers had a comment but didn't indicate whether she was in favor or opposed. Is anyone here else wishing to speak on the item 52? We have a motion, we have a second. Any comments by members of this council? Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gallego.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski. Pastor.
Yes.
Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Valenzuela. Mayor Stanton.
Yes. Item 60, I believe, is next. Is that correct?
Yes.
Item 60 is a proposed request to enter into an agreement with the Arizona Humane Society. Do we have a motion on item number 60?
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Williams, a second by the Vice Mayor.
Mayor, can I make a quick comment?
You may, are there any cards on item 60? Councilman Williams, please.
I want to thank the Humane Society. They have been our partner for many, many years, and they have done it on their own dime. We were not able to pay them any money, but that didn't stop them from taking our animals, investigating our cases, working with police, and providing a safe hospice for live evidence in animal abuse cases. And I am very excited and thankful that the city manager and the budgeting staff could work together to come up with some funds to help them provide as the numbers continue to grow and their services are even needed more. I'm delighted that we are able to contribute to at least partial care of these animals. So thank you, Humane Society, and thank you, Ed.
Thank you very much, Councilman Williams.
Mayor,
Councilman Nowakowski, please.
I want to thank Councilmember Williams for being the co-chair for the Animal Abuse Task Force that you created, Mayor, and it worked out really good. And this is one of the jewels that came out of that task force. So thank you so much, Councilmember Williams, for all your hard work.
Thank you for those kind comments. Let's see, Mayor. Councilman now, DeCiccio, please.
Just a comment as well. This is a critical component of what's happening in our city right here, and I want to thank Councilwoman Williams and Nowakowski for their hard work on this. I mean, this is one where the Humane Society for so many years has really been doing this and been benefiting the taxpayers, and they've just run into a financial crunch. And if it wasn't for the hard work of those two individuals up here and those individuals that are involved in the Humane Society, I don't think this would have ever come to being here. And you know, they really dispose of and they take care of a lot of these animals that have, you know, been hit by other cars or, you know, they're just on the roadway. And they do that, literally, they've been doing that for years, and I want to thank all the work that everybody's done on it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councilman Gates, did you have comments as well?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I also want to recognize Jessica Amond, who actually works for the Humane Society and used to work in my office and was instrumental in getting this done as well. I want to thank my colleagues, Councilman Nowakowski and Councilwoman Williams, for being real leaders on issues of animal abuse, and also very proud that the Arizona Humane Society is based in District 3 in Sunny Slope, and really appreciate all the partnerships that we have with them. Thank you, Mayor.
Square footage, District 8 may have you on Humane Society Square.
The president's office is in District 3, so that's what I go by.
But what really counts is how many you adopt.
Decisions are made in District 8.
And it is Christmas wearing, so some kids might want some dogs.
No, Bill was such an elitist.
Any other comments by members of this council?
I feel like District 8 is home to many of the facilities that actually will be partnering on this partnership with our police department. Councilman Waring and I got to meet a Great Dane who was tied up to it. Yes, probably taller than Councilman Waring, who is by a significant margin, our tallest council member. But the Great Dane had been tied to a tree and had severe trauma to its neck, and the Humane Society nursed him back to health for us. And it is one of many animals I believe Phoenix police officers have adopted through this partnership with the Humane Society. So we also ought to say thank you to the officers who work on behalf of animals that are victims of animal cruelty. Really a win for our community, and there's so many great success stories of animals that the police department has helped rescue, the Humane Society has nursed back to health, and members of our community have adopted. So this vote today means there will be even more of those success stories, and thank you to Dr. Hansen and his team for their leadership in making it happen.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Any other comments, members of this council? Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gallego.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski. Pastor. Waring.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Valenzuela. Yes. Mayor Stanton.
Yes, item passes unanimously. Next item, I believe, is item number 70. That was held out. I think Ms. Rogers had, at least we read the label, that she wanted to testify in 70, but I think she wanted to testify in 30, not 70. So we have a motion on 70?
Motion. Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments by this council? Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gallego.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski. Pastor.
Yes.
Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes. That passes unanimously. Item number 79, which is a request solicitation for the procurement of Transportation 2050 Program Management Consultant. Do we have a motion on item 79? Councilman Gallego?
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any cards on item 79? Any comments by members of this council? Roll call.
DeCiccio. Gallego.
Yes.
Gates.
Yes.
Nowakowski. Pastor.
Yes.
Waring. Williams.
Yes.
Valenzuela.
Yes.
Mayor Stanton.
Yes. Is that 6-3, I believe? 7-2? Okay, so the vote was 7-2 in favor of the proposal. Next item on the agenda is item number 79.1, proposed request authorization for the staff to draft a RFI, request for information for a citywide unified services and/or municipal ID card. I have numerous cards on this item. Councilman Nowakowski, I don't know if you want to put a motion on the table, see if we get a second, and then we'll base the comments off of that.
Mayor, I'd like to move that the City of Phoenix develop and implement a secondary ID card program to be accepted within the City of Phoenix departments and agencies where permissible by the state and federal law through a budget-neutral public-private partnership no later than July 1 of 2016. That our city staff is further directed to expedite the RFI and the RFP process by working in collaboration with the council and community experts without returning to the Public Safety or Veterans Subcommittee. The results and the recommendation of the RFI and RFP process should be brought to the full council for a vote on as soon as possible.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. That's the motion on the table. The reason why I asked that is because I wanted to make sure that the comments of folks could either support or oppose or ask for modifications to that motion. Each speaker will have up to 2 minutes to provide testimony under the City Council rules. Because there are numerous speakers, if someone has already made the point that you're going to make, although you have a First Amendment right to speak, you can pass and say that the point you were going to make has already been made. I don't know if there's a particular order that people want to speak in, but the first speaker on the pile of cards is Mark Cardenas. Is that a Representative Mark Cardenas? Oh, is Representative Cardenas here? If he is, come on down. If not, I'll put him to the side and hopefully, all right, I'll put him to the side and we'll make sure that when Representative Cardenas comes, he has an opportunity to speak. Carlos Velasco? Is Carlos Velasco here?
Mayor, can I suggest maybe reading off 5 names? There's people downstairs, and by the time they get up, maybe they can have a standby lister, so.
Okay, thank you, that's an excellent suggestion. We'll have opportunities for people, somebody to gather the people that may be downstairs watching. Okay, so the first 5 would then be Mark Cardenas, Carlos Velasco, Tomas Koblis, Joe Murphy,